Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to the Count to 10 podcast. It's kind of exciting. This is the first one I'm kind of doing that's hopefully giving some insight and some tools to some people, trying to better communicate and try to understand behaviors and why those behaviors can kind of come across to the point where we don't want to talk to people at all. We don't want to interact with them because of how they're communicating. But if we can understand where they're coming from, it can help out quite a bit. So it's tough that it's in a marriage and people aren't being able to communicate very well. That's probably why we have such a terrible time as couples sometimes. But communication is a big, huge part of that, obviously, and the behaviors behind it. So once you understand the behaviors, the communication becomes a little bit easier, I think. But before that, so for my first podcast, I wanted to promote Dr. Daniel Siegel. He's written two books. One is called Brainstorm, and it's kind of focused on how the teenage to 25-year-old brain works. And then his other book that he has is called The Whole Brain Child. And that book is kind of from 0 to 12, so before they could they become teenagers. Wonderful, incredible books. And I guess the one tool that I wanted to give you today, I'll throw some pictures of those books in there so you can see them. The one tool I wanted to leave with you today is a big part of that first book, The Whole Brain Child, is simply looking at behaviors as messages. So switching your thinking, right? That kid's not being naughty, that kid's not following my directions, that kid's being rude. I'm gonna stop seeing those as bad behaviors and start seeing them as messages. What is the message that student's sending me by being rude? What are they trying to get across to me that they need by behaving that way? So we've all had kids who have tantrums in the grocery store, and what do? You tell them to stop and kind of have this power struggle back and forth. If you're able to understand and think of it as, boy, he or she is sending me a message, what is that message? So you stop for a second. Obviously, we're all very smart people. A message is they want that box of cookies or whatever. But once you understand it as a message, oh, they're sending me a message, they want that, and they're having a difficult time understanding no and what that means, then you can start thinking of it differently in your interactions and your communication will be better. So that's the biggest tool that I pulled out of, I should say the biggest, because he has got wonderful tools in there, lots of them. I would say that was one of the bigger ones for me. I don't know about you, but I like the very simple, sweet, concise things that I can kind of do to kind of switch my thinking about things. And I love it. I just love those little things. So when I start seeing messages, and especially as a behavior teacher, I get a lot of messages every day. So I'm trying to understand those messages. And so if I was only thinking of them as kids who are being naughty, or how do I change that behavior, which is part of it, if I can think about it, how am I going to change that message? So that's a good message, they're coming in, speaking to me and giving me the message that I have it together and I can have a conversation with you. So even that's a positive message being sent to me instead of a positive behavior, right? So I just love that idea that you can just keep it clear and concise. So when my wife's really upset with me because I forgot to do something, and she can talk to me and get across and I can understand and we can problem solve, awesome. If maybe she's screaming and yelling and that message is coming to me pretty hard, it can be difficult to deal with, but if I think about, wow, she's sending me a message, what is that message? Oh, she's really upset about this and we got to figure it out. I can help the situation out, right? So that's the biggest thing that I want to leave you with today. So first podcast. Again, I'm going to make them short and sweet. I don't know if I'll do them multi-times ever. I kind of plan on doing one a week at this point so I don't feel overwhelmed. But, and I don't yet. So I did an intro podcast a bit past, and then I'm doing this one. And I'd love for you to give me your messages, emails about questions, concerns, things that you're thinking about, struggling with behavior-wise. Simon, SYMON, Sanborn, SANBORN, @gmail.com. Send me an email. And I can hit specific things and give you a little shout out, because that's awesome that you're taking a chance, right? And reaching out to somebody and saying, I need some help. That's a wonderful first step. So let me know if you have any questions or concerns, but I appreciate your time today. I appreciate all of your attention, and hopefully you got something from it. All right. Take care of yourselves. Have a good weekend.